James Mercado had always dreamed of visiting New York City. The towering skyline, the diverse neighborhoods, and the endless rhythm of life had captured his imagination from the moment he arrived in the U.S. from Manila 5 years ago. Now 31 and living in Jersey City, he worked as a systems analyst for a large tech company. Quiet, observant, and polite, James was well-liked by his colleagues and loved by his neighbors, known for volunteering on weekends and tutoring local kids in math. On a cold Tuesday morning in February, James put on his winter coat, grabbed his backpack, and boarded a train to Manhattan for an early client meeting. He carried a tablet, a project binder, and a hot coffee in hand. Nothing seemed unusual until he stepped off the train near Bryant Park and crossed into the plaza. That's where it all began. Officer Raymond Blake was a decorated NYPD officer nearing retirement, but his record wasn't spotless. Years of complaints for excessive force and racially charged language had been quietly buried. That morning, he was on foot patrol near the subway entrance when he spotted James standing near a lamppost, checking Google Maps on his phone. To Officer Blake, James looked suspicious, a code word he often used for people of color in affluent areas. Without cause, Blake approached James with sharp suspicion. "What are you doing here?" he barked. James looked up, surprised, and calmly responded, "Just checking my directions." "I'm headed to a meeting on 42nd. Blake narrowed his eyes. "You casing the area? Looking for trouble?" James chuckled awkwardly. "No, sir. I'm just headed to work." But Blake wasn't interested in answers. Within seconds, he demanded ID. James complied, still confused. But as he handed over his wallet, Blake snatched it and dropped it. When James bent to pick it up, Blake shoved him hard in the chest. The coffee fell, splattering across James's coat and the pavement. People started noticing. A young woman named Kiara Washington on her way to class stopped and began recording. "This man didn't do anything," she said loudly. Blake ignored her and pushed James against the metal post. "You're under investigation," he growled. "Hands behind your back." James protested. "Officer, I haven't done anything. I'm just going to work." That's when Blake slammed him against the post again, twisting his arm and pulling zip ties tight around his wrists. Kiara's voice could be heard growing louder. "He didn't do anything. I've got this all on video." Within seconds, more people had their phones out. Two pedestrians tried to step in, but Blake threatened to arrest them for obstruction. Backup arrived, and James was hauled into a patrol car like a criminal, all for standing still and being brown in the wrong part of town. What Blake didn't know was that Kiara's video was already uploaded online. In less than an hour, the footage had hit Twitter, Reddit, and TikTok. The hashtag #Justice for James started trending. "Just another day in America," one tweet read, alongside a still of James being slammed into the pole. The video showed everything: James's calm demeanor, the officer's aggression, and the bystanders yelling in defense. By lunchtime, local news had picked it up. CNN and MSNBC followed. Politicians began tweeting about it. By evening, over 12 million people had seen the footage. Protesters gathered outside the NYPD precinct. Reporters demanded answers. The mayor called an emergency press conference. Officer Blake was suspended pending investigation, but the damage had already been done. James was released after 8 humiliating hours in custody. No charges were filed, no apology given. He walked out of the station to find dozens of supporters waiting for him with signs, cameras, and applause. Shaken but composed, James gave a short statement. "I came here to work, to contribute. I didn't expect to be treated like a criminal, but I'm not staying silent." He was invited onto talk shows, featured in newspapers, and approached by civil rights groups. His case became the center of a growing movement demanding accountability for police behavior. Investigative journalists uncovered Officer Blake's hidden misconduct record, Former victims stepped forward, lawsuits were filed. Weeks later, the NYPD announced Blake's termination, but more importantly, policy change began. Body camera footage policies were revised, community review boards were empowered, and most powerfully, James continued to speak, not from anger, but from hope. In the following months, James testified at City Hall, spoke at rallies, and launched a nonprofit focused on digital accountability. He used tech to empower communities to protect themselves with the knowledge and evidence. He created an app that let people quickly record and send footage of police interactions to multiple cloud platforms and civil rights attorneys. The app went viral, saving lives in real time. James was nominated for multiple civic awards and Invitem,